that one, the common consumer could use, and then another example perhaps of where it's benefiting business?
Sure, yeah. So, some basic stuff. You have like an RSS feed that publishes new items on a blog, right? And you want to tweet them or you want to share them on your Facebook page. With Zapier, you can click a couple buttons, and now anytime something gets published on your favorite site, it'll get shared on Twitter or Facebook, right? So that's kind of where it starts simple. Another simple version would be I get a new email in Gmail that's got an attachment. I want to pull all those attachments, put them into Dropbox, Box, Drive, whatever, automatically. Click a couple buttons in Zapier, and now anytime that happens, you can do it. So that's like, it starts simple with kind of just these simple rules between different applications. But the cool thing with Zapier is you can also, it's easy to get started, but there's this powerful engine underneath where you can go as deep and sophisticated as you want. So like, to give you an example, Eileen's a user researcher on our team. As part of her daily process, she wants to do usability testing with a lot of users. She's got a Zap that sets up and automates the entire scheduling of all of this stuff. So, she'll send out a Calendly link, which is an app that lets you schedule time with her. It'll send you a block of time and let someone pick, I want to do 1:00.
Yeah.
Well, when someone picks 1:00, that'll go ahead and send a calendar invite out to them. It sends a calendar invite into her. It sets up a go-to meeting event in the future. It sends a Slack notification into Slack saying like, hey, this got scheduled. It delays then up until the date of when that event happens. One day before the event, it sends an email out to that person reminding them that they set this up for the next day. It also then the next day, 10 minutes before, sends them a link to the thing saying, hey, join me here in 10 minutes. It posts a link into our design channel into Slack that says, hey, team, we've got this usability test coming up. If you want to attend, you can jump into the link here. When it ends, it sends them a follow-up thank you email with a link to a T-shirt, all in one Zap. So you can see this stuff can get as creative as your imagination allows you. So this takes an entire annoying part of her day, which is, scheduling and coordinating all this stuff just to run a usability test. And now she doesn't even have to think about it, right? She's already thought about it once, set up the flow for it, and the whole process just happens. All she has to do is pay attention to the alerts she gets in Slack and an email to show up.
About 7 years ago, let's say, the big trend in the business space that was dealing with things like what you're talking about, it was the acronym of BPM, which was business process management. And that was the thing that all the big consulting firms were selling. And that was the thing that was out there. And you just described it as something that could just be easily configured here in your web application. That's pretty freaking incredible, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the great part about it, and, I think the reason it's not done more yet is just because people haven't realized they can do it yet. There's so many great applications popping up. We mentioned Zapier has 700 plus. It's kind of crazy to think about. 700 apps is like, you can't hold that amount in your head and know that many apps off the top of your head.
Right.
So a lot of it just requires you as an individual to say, paying attention to your day and being like, this is actually an annoying way to do this. I wonder if there are tools out there that can help me. You can go to Zapier and look at the Zap book and see all the ones we've got. Find the ones that work for you.
Is the Zap book the area that is part of the Explore area? Is that how I get to the Zap book?
Yeah. So it's got like the directory that has all the apps we support. You can click through, find cool ones that are interesting to you, help you out with your day. We got all sorts of stuff.
One of the things that I do here in New York City is I like to offer myself up as a mentor to people that are just asking for career advice sometimes. And, I'm coming out of the technology background, but I haven't been doing technology for several years. People come up to me and they talk with me about what are the opportunities out there. And again, I've pointed to Zapier or if this then that, but specifically Zapier because you guys have the business market really in laser focus, and I think it's incredible. But what I've seen is that you've got 700 points there that can integrate, and you've got a team of under 100 people that are working for Zapier.
Yeah, it's 50 people here at Zapier.
Right. So that's not 50 people aren't going to be able to go out there and show everybody how to do this, right? And so, in the if this then that world, they've got recipes, but they're very simple, they're very basic, and they're intended for an end consumer that's not as technologically savvy.
Yeah.
If you've only got 50 people, it seems to me, and this is what I've said to people in the industry, is that there's a tremendous opportunity to do consulting in Zapier integration and Zapier configuration for the enterprise market. And I've mentioned that to some people that have looked to me for advice in that space. Am I pointing in the right direction here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've had people come up to us who are like MailChimp experts. And so they learn Zapier and MailChimp together really well. And then they start selling that as a service, or Zapier and Salesforce, or Zapier and QuickBooks. And so they know those edges of Zapier plus that other app really, really well. And they're able to combine that kind of specialization that they have, which is pretty unique, to have those joint specializations and make pretty good living, selling those types of services to people, helping them automate their back office kind of work.
Yeah, and again, that was such a huge. It's still such a huge part of the information technology industry. But are you guys offering for people like that are thinking about doing consulting in Zapier configurations? Have you guys thought about certifications or anything like that, a small consulting firm or a small consultant could come to you guys and get certified as an expert in how to do these integrations?
Yeah, we've definitely given that consideration. It's something we hope to enable at some point down the road. Given we're 50 people, though, right now, it's kind of tough to check all the boxes that we want.
Yeah,
this
no,
it's one we're pretty excited about because, I mean, what's better than empowering the community to help each other, right?
Seriously. Yeah, and you guys really have done. I having been there as a system integrator, I saw you guys pop up, and I'm like, oh my god! And I have to read for you. I'm a champion, a user champion of your product services here. Not paid by you guys in any way, but I got a nice note. I went to lunch with somebody recently here in New York City. And he was asking me for some advice, career advice, work advice. And he was thinking about hiring a developer because he was trying to integrate all of these different things together. He's not an IT guy, but he understands tech. He's very tech savvy, as most millennials today are. They know how all these apps kind of work, and they can figure out how to plug these things in together. And he wrote me a follow. I recommended that instead of going down the approach of hiring a team to do this integration and bringing on full-time staff, to take a look at Zapier. And so he was thinking, he was days away from being able to hire a developer to come on board full-time to be his main software integrator. And he wrote me this nice note after I said, hey, why don't you go take a look at Zapier? He says, hi, Nate. Otis. Will definitely. I was actually about to write you to thank you for telling me about Zapier when we got lunch. I can't believe that I was days away from hiring a developer. Yesterday morning, I launched a brand new video scheduling system, content optimization platform, organic view projection tool, and metadata repository at the company that this guy's at. These systems are unified and built around Zapier's ability to process rules and format information between Google Calendars, Sheets, Gmail, Dropbox, and Excel online. Not only has the new system provided functionality that would have otherwise been available via the work only been available via the work of an expensive developer, but it will save innumerable hours of busy work. I estimate that I now have an extra hour per day to focus on release strategy, while my direct report has an extra 2 hours per day to focus on coordination with another department there. Their various teams across marketing and other areas can now collaborate on platform-by-platform titling and split publishing strategies among other inputs. This aggregated work is disseminated to those who need it in formats that make sense to them. Additionally, and he goes on and on and on and on, thanking me for just pointing them at what the work of 50 developers across the country here working for Zapier have done. So I have a big thank you to you for earning me a free lunch from this guy.
Yeah, well, my pleasure. That kind of stuff is awesome. That's what we live for, right? Here's a company that saved, between two people, it was 3 hours a day. That's 60 hours a month. Plus, they didn't have to hire an engineer. So, I mean, what more could you want, right? That's amazing.
I hope that is in and of itself perhaps a pitch to investors for you. So about your company though, so you've got 50 people. And I see that you are hiring, and it seems like an exciting company to work for. I wonder if you can talk about your approach to working and the culture of your company and the distribution of your company into multiple locations.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing that makes Zapier most unconventional to most workplaces is that we are 100% distributed. Across these 50 people, we have no central office. People mostly work from a home office or, local coffee shop or co-working facility or something like that. That makes the most sense. We have most people in the U.S., but we have people in Canada and the U.K. and Spain and Portugal and India and Thailand and Australia and New Zealand and all over the world, honestly.
So you've basically, I'm envisioning a game of Risk right now, where you've got an army in like every country times 50 armies that are all tied together in a supply chain, and you can move things back and forth because they're all connected by at least one country. That sounds like what Zapier is to me.
Yeah, the world never sleeps on Zapier. So yeah, I mean, it makes it great, and we use a lot of the tools that we integrate with Zapier. We actually use to help kind of keep us all connected with work. So we're using things like Slack and Trello and Dropbox and Box and Gmail and Google Apps and Typeform and Airtable and you name it, right? To host a lot of this information and to help us basically get work done.
Yeah.
And it works fantastically. It's kind of there's several other companies that I know that are working this way, and I think it's kind of I think we're going to see a lot more of it happen in the next decade or so. People working like this.
Yeah, and I mean, right now we're basically having a meeting here, right? We're having an interview right here, and I'm in my basement. I'm in my man cave right here in northern New Jersey. And is this an office?
I'm at my kitchen table.
I love it. You're at your kitchen table. This is fantastic, and this is the world of today. We couldn't have done this even 5 years ago with this level of audio quality, video quality, all those things. So, so what does the trajectory look like for Zapier in the next year in terms of a product roadmap, and how do you take into consideration your own product roadmap and your own differentiation strategy in contrast to the other guy out there, the if this then that?
Yeah. So, we focus, I think we've talked about this. Zapier's, focused on work, on enterprise sort of solutions and things like that. So that's who we pay attention to when we're working with our customer base and customer support. We're paying attention to what our, paid users, we're paying attention to what our heavy users are asking for, what they care about, the areas of the software that's limiting to them, the apps that we're not supporting that they wish they had support for, all that sort of stuff. So we're paying attention to that.
You mean 700 apps isn't enough?
I mean, you would think, but there's the thing I've learned at Zapier is there's always another app. There's always something else that somebody else in this world uses, and there's always an up and comer that you got to be latching onto because it's ever evolving. New people coming in every day with new interesting approaches to solving kind of problems that are existing now.
Yeah. And most famously in the term, there's an app for that, right? So
exactly,
right. If there's an app for that, you guys are there's an integration for that app.
Yeah, we got a Zap for that.
We got a Zap for. I like that. I like that. I like it a lot. That's neat. So are you guys, I was out at CES at the beginning of this year, and obviously one of the big things that they were talking about was the Internet of Things, all the consumer wearables. Last week on Pop Song Tech, I interviewed the CEO of a wearable device creator called Pavlok, which I don't know if you've heard of Pavlok, but it's this electric zapping device that's supposed to like give you an electrical shock if you if you bite your nails or whatever it is. But that's one of the big trends out there, and I know that the IFT guys tend to go more for those consumer products. Do you guys have any intention of stepping into that direction as well?
Not too much. I think the Internet of Things is a pretty fascinating space as a consumer myself. I think there's a lot of interesting applications that are going to evolve. Especially when you see what Amazon's doing with things like Alexa, you start to get into some pretty cool territory. I think as that stuff emerges into the workplace, that's where you'll see Zapier start to kind of latch on to things like that. And it doesn't seem like it's quite there yet. I think in some areas it's probably a little more progressive than others, but I think a lot of the interesting stuff is still happening in consumer tech. And you'll see that the kind of work enterprise use cases kind of follow suit as things start to get figured out more or less.
Right. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to follow you guys, and as that certification program comes along, definitely let me know about that, please. I'd love
absolutely.
I'd love to forward that on to other people, saying, "See, here it is. This is what I've been telling you about for the past year." And guys, nobody listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to this guy. I got Wade Foster here, ladies and gentlemen, on Pop Song Tech, and want to sincerely